We are not alone. What was that about from the book? Are you talking about extraterrestrials or subtle beings or what?
Well, could be, but subtle beings. The idea that,
Yes.
Again, as we talked about early on, anything from angels to, I was talking, for example, with Tenzin Palmo, the Tibetan Buddhist, and we were talking about Dakinis, what are called sky dancers or the translation is sky dancers, and they are ethereal beings in a different dimension.
Right.
And she said matter-of-factly one day about being in this particular nunnery, yeah, we used to see Dakinis all over the place. We don't see them as much anymore. It's like, wow.
We meaning all the nuns in that thing?
Well, the nuns who were at a certain level of,
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah. And so, again, every religion, the Muslims have the Jinns, and obviously Hinduism has loads of
tons of stuff.
So this fundamental idea that we are not alone, that whether it's a spirit guide of some sort, whether it's Bodhisattvas, when we talk about, I'll stick with Tibetan Lamas, for example, who are Tibetans believe are consciously incarnating in a new body. So you have these lineages of incarnate Lamas. They're beings that have achieved enlightenment on another level and have decided to come down. It's like, it's an avatar, right? It's not God in the sense of Krishna maybe or Christ, but at a certain level, have come down to incarnate to help people. That's the belief system. So there are all sorts of dimensional beings that are there that we can interact with if we want to, and that are there for good and also there for bad. I mean, there are bad ones.
Yeah. I think it's an important point for people to understand. Some people brush off this sort of idea to say, oh, the whole world is an illusion. Who cares if they're there or not? Even if they are, they're as illusory as everything else. But I'm always kind of interested in the way the world works. I was never a really great student. I was too much of a messed up kid. But, as I started on the spiritual path and came along on it, I got more and more fascinated with all kinds of things. And these days I'm more fascinated than ever. But I think if you really want to understand the universe, if you really want to understand life, especially from a spiritual perspective, because most scientists would dismiss this as nonsense, you should seriously consider the notion that there are all these other dimensions and that they are inhabited by hosts of beings of various kinds, and that some of them perhaps are just in their own realm and are not interacting with us at all, but many they overlap with our dimension and influence human affairs and actually can be to our advantage. I mean, can be helpers
or the opposite,
or hindrances.
And as somebody once said, just because they don't have bodies doesn't make them any smarter than us or more enlightened than us. So there are, if you look at these realms, if you believe in these realms, if you believe the doctrines of these various traditions that talk about these kinds of beings, I mean, there are those that, if you accept the idea of an angel and that it's, somehow holier and here to help us, but then other realms have the God realm, for example, we talked about all that's happened is they've been they're like us. They've been incarnated in that realm, and they have bigger egos and they have longer lives. Doesn't make them, somebody we necessarily want to listen to or learn from. So there's an issue of discerning all of this as well, if you buy into it.
Yeah. As a friend of mine said, just because you're dead doesn't mean you're smart.
Right. Exactly.